Hello fellow gamers, Peter here from the Esoteric Order of Gamers. It's another great video about gaming stuff. Today we're going to talk about Dystopian Wars. This is the new two-player starter set. It's called Sturginium Skies, or if you prefer Sturginium Skies, I really don't know which it is. And this is a really interesting starter set for the game because it's very much more focused on aerial battles rather than ship battles, though there are some ships in it. It's a really lovely set, and I was very impressed when I opened it up that it was so packed full of stuff. Of course, we've got the usual dice and counters and cards and things that came in the last starter set, but there's a really lovely selection of models here, and let me show you through them and show you also the options that you can have for each of these models. Because there are a lot of options, as there always are in Dystopian Wars sets. And talking about Dystopian Wars sets, I intend to show you some more in upcoming videos because I've got a bit of a backlog. War Cradle Studios very kindly send me free Dystopian Wars stuff so I can show it to you. And I also play the game. It's a fantastic game, but I'm getting a bit of a backlog and I've been building up all the sets that I've been getting and I want to show them to you soon. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's get started on Sturginium Skies, or Sturginium Skies. Well, as you can see, there's an impressive amount of stuff in this set. Now, there's stuff that came in the last starter set, so we'll go through this quickly. This is the same stuff. We've got 2 sheets of nice thick counters you can use, a whole heap of dice. There's your special dice here and your hit dice here. Lovely amount of dice there. You've got 2 decks of victory and valor cards, one for each player. You've got a full rulebook, perfect bound rulebook. There's a lot of background information in there as well about the Dystopian Wars universe, which is a steampunk Victorian age universe with technology and stuff as well. We've got the rules. Now, of course, I would be very remiss if I didn't point out that I've done a rules summary for Dystopian Wars and I've updated it with the latest FAQ. So if you go to my website at orderofgamers.com, you can download that for free. When you do so, if you feel inclined, you could leave a little donation because it takes a bit of work to get these things done, and I also keep them updated as we go along. So if you do that, thanks very much. But you'll find all the rules there, and it's much easier to learn from the summary because it summarizes all this information in a easier format, in my opinion anyway. We've also got this little campaign book, Sturginium Skies, Sturginium, I can't decide. I think I'll say Sturginium. Okay. This book here is the campaign book, and we've got basically the instructions for building the ships and aerial forces and the different configurations. You've got the unit cards as well. And there's a few scenarios as well. There you go. You've also got your standard templates there, and you've got a whole lot of bases, and also here are some SRS tokens as well. Who has the SRS tokens? I've forgotten. There are 4 SRS tokens for the Imperium fleet and 3 for the Crown fleet. So the first thing I should point out is a lot of these models are aerial ones, and they come on aerial bases. So you have these clear stands here, and then they go on these very nice ship bases. Now obviously I haven't attached those because I want to paint them first before I actually attach them to the bases. So keep in mind that all these will be flying up in the sky when you finally complete them. So you're probably thinking, what forces do we have here? Well, we've got the Crown fleet here and the Imperium fleet here. And the feature of the Imperium fleet is this fantastic Zeppelin. Check it out. This is a beautiful, beautiful Zeppelin model, and let's face it, when it comes to steampunk, Zeppelins are the go. Now you can make this lovely ship in 2 different configurations. The one that I've made is the Stark Imperium Sky Fortress. You can also make this as a Zeppelin class. So this Stark class has the carrier area, the platform, where you can land and take off SRS tokens with some anti-aircraft guns. Absolutely beautiful. The other configuration doesn't have that top bit. It's just got guns going along there. But what a beautiful model. I just think that's really impressive and a fantastic centerpiece for an Imperial army. Of course, we've also got the huge ice fortress for the Imperium army, so the Imperium are really spoilt for choice. Some beautiful things there. Next, we've got two of the Kriegssturm assault airships. This can also be built as a Nuremberg configuration. Lovely, snappy little airship there. This one's got 4 guns at the front, the other configuration just has the single gun. Now actually I believe I built this as the Nuremberg because I preferred the 4-gun configuration at the front. The other configuration just has a single gun. But when it comes to things like that, I don't worry too much. I mean, it really is the rule of cool, whatever looks really nice for me, because I can easily field this and say it's a Kriegssturm or the other one, what is it, Nuremberg. And it doesn't really matter if the gun isn't perfect. You may of course be playing in some kind of competitive environment where those things are important, but I don't. So I just make whatever looks good to me. Next up, there are 4 of the Jaeger class aerial fast destroyers, and this has a Munich configuration as well. But again, they're relatively similar. They just have a slightly different front. That's the aerial portion of the Imperial fleet. We've got some ships as well, and we've seen these before, but you can build them in different configurations. We've got 2 cruisers here. Here I've built it as a Reiter class vessel. I haven't attached these yet because I'll paint it first. But this is a flak vessel, so you can see all the anti-aircraft guns on there. You can also build this as a Konrad, which is an aircraft carrier, or a Volsung, which has a big Sturmbringer gun at the front. But because I didn't have any Reiters, I built 2 of these. And these little ships are the Sigimir and Toten destroyers. Very, very similar. They just have a slightly different gun, either a Volt gun or a Sturmklau. I've just built a couple of each because I've already got some from my earlier set. So now I've built it up to the point where I've got 8 of one type and 6 of another. And I just realized I put those submarines on the wrong side. They belong with the Crown set, and these aerial escorts, we've got 4 of these tiny little aerial escort models. They go with the Imperium fleet. So over to the Crown fleet, and we've got some beautiful war rotors here. Check these out. These are the Prydain class war rotors. And you can configure these with heavy gun batteries, which I've got on there as well, or rocket batteries. And what I've done is magnetize these. So you can see there's a little magnet there. Now I highly recommend putting this magnet in before you glue in the deck, so you can just pop it in underneath. I forgot to do that, but I just had to muck around with some green stuff inside there so I could fit it in. But make sure before you glue it down, put a magnet on the other side, and then that lovely clicking sound as it goes into place. So I can change these these heavy gun batteries for rocket batteries, like so. And if I change both of those, it looks like this. So I really do recommend magnetizing your guns. It's very easy to do. Use a little bit of green stuff to get it in there with some super glue, drill a hole, and you'll have the satisfaction of being able to do that. And also you can move them around and point them at the bad guys when you fire. Then we've got 3 of the Tintergel class battle rotors. These are very simple. They just come with a rocket battery at the top. 6 of the Saxon Scout rotors, again with a rocket battery. And then we come to these 3 cruisers. And this one I've built as a Bonaventure strike cruiser. Now there are a lot of options for building this particular cruiser. You can build it as a Halifax, a Newfoundland, a Yukon, a Toronto. They're all slightly different. As usual, the main differences seem to be with the stern. Some of them have a chopped off stern or a longer stern. Some of them have an extra heavy gun battery at the back, or just this little one here. All tiny little variations, so choose whatever you want. But this one is the Bonaventure. And again, I've magnetized those guns on the front so I can turn them around a little bit. There's 3 of those lovely ships, and I love these big sort of engines on the back. Don't they look great? Finally, there are 6 of the Orca class hunter submarines. Very sleek little craft. Wow, what a gorgeous set. Absolutely lovely. I'm really looking forward to adding these to my existing fleets, and especially to have this aerial action coming in as well with the Zeppelins and the planes and everything. It's going to be fantastic. I really want to get another battle report out of this. If you haven't seen my first battle report, Please do check it out because it's very entertaining. I think we had a really fun game, and I really enjoy this game. It is quite crunchy. I wouldn't go in it as a brand new tabletop miniatures gamer, I don't think, because the rules have a little bit of heft to them, but there's a lovely amount of strategy, and once you get the hang of it, it does flow really, really nicely. Now, my only criticism of all this stuff is nothing to do with the game or the miniatures. The miniature releases have been stunning, and they're churning them out every month, War Cradle Studios. It amazes me how much they release for this game, and that's must mean it's quite healthy, which is fantastic. The only problem I have for me is some of the information design. I find it very confusing to keep track of all the different variants of the ships and planes and things and the different weapon loadouts and stuff like that. And the reason is the information is spread out over a number of places. So if you look at the back of the box, for example, you'll see the ships, and usually it shows you the variants as well. However, the photos are very small, they're in black and white. It's sometimes very difficult to tell the difference between the different types of ships, especially if one type of ship has 6 variations and things like that. The other place to go, of course, are the unit cards, like so, but in these we have illustrations. And sometimes they're also a little bit difficult to tell which is which because they don't always show the entire ship, and there's not a whole lot of detail there. Then of course we go to the building instructions themselves, like this. Again, black and white photos, sometimes a little bit difficult to distinguish, and also they have the habit of showing how you put things together or where something goes, but in the next photo you won't be able to see it in place. So it's sometimes hard to tell if you put it in exactly the right place. Another place you can get information is on the web, and if you go to the War Cradle blog, you'll see that they have photos of all the different variations as well. Now I find all this very confusing because it's spread out over so many places. And what I've done is make a PDF like this for every army. Now this doesn't show all the units you can get in a particular army, but I'm starting to make unit cards as well for them. What this does is allow me to see the options out of the particular models that I have. I would love War Cradle to do something like this. In here I've got a picture of the particular model, which one it is, what its points are, and what weapons it has. But I think the best way of solving this problem is for every ship to have a little side-on diagrammatical illustration, like a blueprint kind of illustration, which will show you exactly what the model is. And I put this picture on the unit cards, in the Orbats, which is the Order of Battle document, everywhere, so you could immediately see what variations look like, and you can identify them quickly. I just feel like it's sort of scattered all over a few different places at the moment, and the fact that I've had to make a PDF document myself to distinguish between them all shows that it's a little bit difficult to do. And also I feel that it's raising the bar of entry a little bit. I think if we simplified this, that it'd be a lot easier for new players to understand what's going on. I do know a lot of gamers love this kind of nitty-gritty detail and working it all out themselves, but there are gamers who are put off by it as well, and I think that it could be designed a bit better to make that clearer. So that's just my criticism for Dystopian Wars. Apart from that, the game itself is great fun. The models are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to keep playing it. I really love getting new releases from War Cradle and adding to my fleets. And stay tuned because, as I said, I'm going to be covering some other fleets that I've got recently as well, and I've been busy building so I can show them to you. Well, that was the Sturginium Skies, or Sturginium Skies if you prefer, the new starter set for Dystopian Wars. And if you want to get into this game, I recommend this one as a starting point. And of course, you could probably get hold of the first one as well, the Hunt for Prometheus, which has got some lovely big resin models in it as well, and is a great starting point. But if this theme grabs you, the idea of fleets and ships battling over the high seas in a steampunk Victorian world, then get into it because it's a very, very cool game. Thanks very much for watching. This is the Esoteric Order of Gamers. Of course, go to the website orderofgamers.com where you'll find hundreds of rule summaries and references by me, including one for Dystopian Wars. I'm on all the social media channels and Patreon. And don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next time. Good gaming. Bye.